So today I'm going to be giving an updated review on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 FE. Let's talk about it. So the S10 FE, I really do believe that this tablet, it's been one of the most underrated tablets that's released this year. Whenever it first released for $499, people did not like that price point, especially because Samsung did not put the most powerful processor in this. Yes, we do have a better processor than we had in the Tab S9 FE, but still it's just an Exynos 1580 processor, and for $500, that price was a little bit too steep for some people. But I will say one of the biggest reasons to buy this tablet now, it's actually the sales that you're going to be seeing for the holidays. Right now, as of the time I'm making this video, we do have the Galaxy Tab S10 FE all the way down to $360 for Black Friday deals. Of course, after Black Friday deals, there's going to be deals all throughout the holiday season and even into 2026. So I have no doubt that this tablet is going to be a very good value for months and months to come, especially if you see it anywhere from $350 all the way to $400. Whenever you look around a lot of Android tablets around $500, you're going to find some decent tablets, even some pretty good tablets overall. But a lot of those tablets won't have 7 years of operating system updates, they won't come with a stylus in the box, so there are some reasons to actually go towards this FE model. If you are a big Samsung fan, you really like Samsung tablets, and you don't want a super slow tablet that's $100, maybe you don't want the Tab A9 Plus or the S10 Lite, you want something a little bit better, but you just don't want to spend $800 or more on one of the premium Samsung tablets. This Tab S10 FE is great, especially when it goes on sale. Plus, whenever you look at the speed and the processor, I think a lot of people are overreacting. This is still a very good tablet, and there have been some changes to the software, for example. Like, this did release with Android 15 and One UI 7, but now we have Android 16 and One UI 8, and that did come with some changes to Samsung DeX, so we have to discuss some of those things. But overall, I have just been enjoying my time with the S10 FE. But it's not for everyone. There have been some better values out there, and I've talked about those on my channel, but I still really like this tablet. Of course, the design, it's very similar to the S9 FE. It's actually going to fit a lot of the same cases, like the keyboard case, for example, that you find for the S9 FE. It's going to work here as well, and it's been a good experience with the design. Again, nothing crazy, but I do enjoy this tablet. It does feel nice and sturdy, but you will notice some bezels that are there. If you're someone who absolutely wants the thinnest bezels, the tablet itself is about 11 inches in size, just a little bit smaller, and it is nice, but if you do use the keyboard covers, you might notice it's going to be just a little bit crammed. Now, not quite as small as those 8-inch tablets that some of you really wish Samsung would make. I know you want a small, powerful 9-inch tablet from Samsung, but it's still a smaller design overall compared to the bigger tablets. Now, when we talk about the display, you're going to see that the display, it's nothing crazy, it's nothing special, and it's not as good as some international tablets that you'll see at this price point in other countries. But in the US, with the options we have, I would not expect AMOLED at this price, and no, we don't get an AMOLED display, but still the screen does look really, really nice. It does have a 249 ppi density, and it's going to be a little bit nicer than the screen you'll see in the Tab A9 Plus or some lower end tablets. Now, the brightness here is really good. We're talking up to 800 nits in high brightness mode, 600 nits as you're just normally using the tablet, but the point is the brightness is better than you would expect in other tablets around this price point. It's better than the Lenovo IdeaTab Pro, and it's also better than some other tablets around $400 or $500 in the US. So I do like how the screens here are bright, and in previous years we were getting tablets that just weren't very bright, and we're seeing a lot of upgrades nowadays with tablet screens, and I'm just happy to see the screen is bright, it's vibrant, it does look good. So this tablet is really for someone that has not the highest expectations, but not the lowest expectations either. Maybe you don't need the absolute best tablet because you have a really good phone. This might just be a companion to you, but you don't just want to buy a $200 $500 terrible tablet or a $100 tablet that just will not meet your expectations. Tablets around $100 or so, they might only have 4 gigs of RAM, and you might have to reload apps. And if you don't want to have to deal with any of that, and you want it to feel fairly speedy in the day-to-day, but you just don't need the top-end performance, you're not going to game on high settings, and maybe you don't care about having an AMOLED screen. If that's you, if you're just someone who just wants a decent tablet, that is the market for this. Sure, you could look around at every tablet around this price point, and you might find a tablet with better performance, or you might find a tablet with a bigger screen at the same price. And those tablets might not have 7 years of operating system updates, or they might not come with an S Pen. So you could always look around and do a lot of comparisons out there. I do think there are some decent tablets out there that are good values, but I would say this is a very good value, especially with the sales we're seeing, and especially at the time of year that I'm making this video. So earlier I did talk about how people were a little bit down on the processor of this tablet. Now I completely understand it. People would say it's going to be slow and it's going to be just so terrible. And I think they forget how far we've come with performance. Like, this tablet still today, even months and months after launch, it is flying through pretty much everything I'm doing. Now, no, this is not going to be your gaming machine where you game Genshin Impact on high settings, right? It's going to be good for casual gaming, just chilling out and playing some Madden or FIFA, or just some basic games that you would want to play on your tablet. You could even play some Fortnite on some lower settings and it will be fine. But this isn't a gaming powerhouse. It's not going to be so insane with all of that. No, you're going to have to deal with something that will play most games on Android especially, but maybe on some middle settings like medium. It might not be on the highest settings out. And no, it's not 120 Hz on the refresh rate. But the Exynos 1580 is still a good processor. It does still feel smooth whenever I'm using it. And especially with this new software, actually, even after the recent software update, it's been very quick and very speedy for me. I haven't had to worry about performance. Now, of course, if you try to keep a tablet for 6 or 7 or 8 years, yeah, you might find something to complain about in 5 years. Well, guess what? You might need to do a factory reset 5 years from now, or you might have to do something with your battery if it just wears down. That's pretty typical for any tablet, but I wouldn't say this will degrade over time faster than another tablet, but it will start out a little bit lower than some of the flagship tablets out there with performance. And even around $500, whether you look at the Yoga Tab Plus or some other tablets that have went on sale, you might find some really good performing tablets for that money. So this might not be quite as good as far as the benchmarks compared to those, but day-to-day performance, opening up several apps at a time, it's going to be good. It just won't be a video editing powerhouse, right? You might edit some 1080p video on there, but it's not going to be your high-end gaming, high-end videos, high-end AMOLED display type of tablet. It's not going to be for that. It's going to be a step down, but a step up from the lower end, and you're going to be able to keep this tablet for years with 7 years of OS updates, and they have been fairly timely because now we have Android 16 and One UI 8. Now that does bring some other changes we have to talk about because we do have Samsung DeX now on this tablet. But Samsung DeX is a little bit different here because we don't have the classic version of DeX anymore. Because this tablet, it cannot connect to a monitor, at least with a wire. I guess technically maybe you could get classic DeX running wirelessly or something, but whenever it actually comes to connecting it with a wire through USB-C, even though you can't technically do that, we do have some nice changes with DeX. So it is a new version that does really make it easy to get into DeX. All you have to do whenever you have an app open is swipe down from the top of the app, and it will open that app in a pop-up window, and DeX will automatically be open. You could go into your settings to turn it off, or you could just go to your recent apps and then just swoop over to your other apps that weren't open in this desktop mode or Samsung DeX. You could also open up multiple desktops if you want to separate things out for your workflow. So there are some positive changes here. And as far as Samsung DeX in general, it is really improving because I know Samsung and Google are working together in a lot of ways. But the negative is we were able to, in previous years, use classic DeX on the tablet, and sadly we can't do that anymore. Now we just have to use the new DeX and the classic DeX X is reserved for a monitor screen, which we can't connect to with a wire. So that is one of the deal breakers with this tablet, and of course it didn't go away. If you want to connect to a monitor, the Lenovo Idea Tab Pro, the Yoga Tab Plus, both of those tablets do have monitor support. You could connect to a monitor through those, but you can't do it on here. You're going to have to spend a little more money on a Tab S9, maybe find it on sale, or look around at the Tab S11 or some of the newer tablets. So at the end of the day, there have been some changes. Of course, battery life is good. It's what I would expect from this tablet. It's around 8,000 milliamps, and battery life has been just fine. I do get around 7 or so hours of screen on time, depending on what I'm doing. Again, it's been pretty typical. There's not a lot of big changes that I'm noticing outside of the software, Samsung DeX, and it's been performing well over time. The biggest change has really been the price. So whenever you look at this, you just have to figure out what is right for you. Do you need to connect to a monitor? If you don't, well, this tablet might be good for you. Do you need AMOLED? Do you need a super high-performing tablet that's great for high-end gaming? All of those things would mean you can't really use this tablet, but if you're someone that wants a good companion with good software support that comes with an S Pen, this is great. The S Pen experience is good on here. I've really enjoyed using the S Pen. It doesn't have Bluetooth, but it's a good experience. I know it's a 90 Hz refresh rate. I know it doesn't have AMOLED. I know all of those things. But overall, I am really enjoying the experience on the Tab S10 FE. It's not meant for the high-end gamer. It's not meant for the high-end screen enthusiast. It's meant to be a good companion for your phone, a really nice tablet to bring with you on the go that is more than powerful enough to even get productive on. It's more than powerful enough to take notes on, and it just looks good overall, but it's just not as good as your phone. It's not going to be AMOLED, it won't have the Snapdragon 8 Elite or anything like that, but still, it's going to be more than serviceable. There's more I could say. I could mention the 8 GB of RAM. I could mention the fingerprint sensor that is in the power button. There's a lot I could give you, but all of that is fairly old news. The big thing you need to know is that it does still hold up today. If you find it on sale, it's a good buy, but if you are picky about the screen, if you're picky about connecting to a monitor, those things might be a no-go for you. Or if you want the highest in performance, or if you want a tablet that's super good for gaming. This is a little bit of a jack of all trades that's going to be well supported over the years, and I do think it's worth it for people who want that, and if they find it for a good price. If you find this for like $400 or less, or even $430 isn't bad at all. So if you find it for $430 and under, I think it's going to be a great buy around this holiday season, and I definitely think a lot of people should pick one up. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you did like it, feel free to give me a like and give me a sub. That would mean a ton to my channel. Now, another thing you could do if you do actually like these products, maybe you like the Tab S10 FE, or maybe you just want to support my sponsor or check out what I talked about there, feel free to check the links in the description. That is another great way to support my channel and support my family in general, because honestly, we sort of need that. So another way you could support is by checking out other videos if you are interested in Android or Android tablets. I talk all things Android, and I just have to say, no matter what you're going through in life or no matter what has come your way, I really do hope you have a tremendous day, and I hope you have a great week.